Hi there, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Growth with today's Read Aloud, and I wanted to read to you today a book called Feathers for Lunch by Lois Ehlert. And I really like this story, especially at this time of year, because as it's warming up and it's getting a little more spring-like out there, I am seeing a lot more birds and hearing a lot more birds out in my yard. And so it's kind of fun to read this book, and it tells us about some different birds to then see if I can spot some of these birds in my yard. All right, feathers for lunch. So I want you to pay attention to what is happening in this story, and maybe trying to see if you can figure out with maybe what's the problem in the story. Lots of times stories have a problem in there. So the writer tells a story and they share a problem, and we see how the characters in the story try and solve their problem. So let's see. This is also a great rhyming story. So I want you to sit with me to see if you can guess what the rhyming word should be that's going to come next in this, all right? Feathers for lunch. And right here, I'm noticing, are you noticing it too? I am noticing a cat who's inside the house, and he's looking out the window, and he is seeing a bird in the bush. Uh-oh. Doors left open, just a crack. What do you think's happening with that tail? Where's the cat going? My cat is out and he won't come back. So he's walking past the geraniums. Wait a second, I'm gonna go back for a second. Doors left open, just a crack. My cat is out and he won't come back. That's right, back and crack rhyme. He's looking for lunch, something new. This is a robin. A spicy treat for today's menu. Menu and new rhyme. This is a blue jay right here. His food in a can is tame and mild. So he's gone out for something wild. That's right. And here we see a cardinal and a house wren. This author does a great job of labeling all the pictures so you can learn about the different kinds of birds as well as the different kinds of trees. This is an apple branch right here. He's snooping and sneaking. Those birds sure look good. This is a redheaded woodpecker. I think Charlie saw one of those. If he could catch one, he'd eat it. He would. This is a red-winged blackbird. I have seen those around by my house. And here are some tulips. But when his bell jingles, birds call a warning. Big cat got out early this morning. So the birds warn one another that the cat is out. And down here in the corner of the pictures, we're singing, jingle, jingle. We're seeing the sound that the cat's bell around its collar makes as the cat is sneaking about. But birds can't fly and they can't soar. Whoops, I read that wrong. But cats can't fly and they can't soar. And birds know what their wings are for. So as the cat is trying to get the hummingbird knows that it can safely fly away. So he keeps prowling, hoping to munch. But all he catches are feathers for lunch. So the birds get away just in time, but he gets some feathers in his mouth as their feathers chop off. And then let's come back here. Can you tell that someone didn't treat this book with good respect and that there's circles with crayon all over all the birds? We don't want to treat our books that way, but I do love this. So this is a geranium. Emma's growing one of these in the kitchen window. So here's our robin. This is a bird that comes back in the beginning of spring. So usually that's a sign of spring when the robins have come back to our area. This is the blue jay I mentioned. This is a pine tree. Here is a northern cardinal, and these are forsythias. I just spied some of these growing at my friend's house when I was out on a run the other day. These are bleeding hearts, and these won't be up for a few weeks yet, but Mrs. Growth grows some of these in my front garden. They're really cool because the flower petals look just like real hearts. This is the house wren, and this is an apple branch. Right now there's an apple orchard near my house, but there are no buds out yet on the apple trees. That'll come in a few more weeks. Here's that redheaded woodpecker, and you see how he's tapping looking for bugs in the bark with his beak. And then the red-winged blackbird, and we've got tulips here. And then here is a northern oriole and a lilac bush. I have one of these also in my yard, but that doesn't come out, I think, until probably May, maybe even June, that the lilacs are out. They smell beautiful. Mourning doves, I see a lot of these in my neighborhood, sitting on the cable lines and the phone lines. And then here we have a northern flicker. It's also got red on its head, kind of like our cardinal. There's a hummingbird. Every now and then we see those around our house. And this is a petunia plant. I often have these out on my deck. Here's more forsythia that we saw. There's a house sparrow and an American goldfinch. And then there's our kitty, who's finally been grabbed by the kiddo who takes care of him. All right, and so yeah, this story, I love it, and I love Lois Alert's books because there's always so many labels writers in here. So labeling our plants for us, labeling the birds for us, and even gives us the sound. There's the jingle jingle of the cat's collar, and then also a lot, this is a tomato plant, this would be in the garden. Also, it gives us the what the song sounds like for each bird. So if you love learning about birds or learning about plants, this would be a great book for you to read. So what was the problem in this story? What was the cat trying to do? That's right, the cat was trying to catch a bird. It was being a predator to the birds who were the prey, and the cat was trying to catch a bird for lunch, but was he successful? No. The birds were able to use their creature power, as the Kratt brothers would say, use their creature power, and they were able to fly away before the kitty cat was able to catch them. And luckily, the owners of the cat put the bell on the cat's collar, so that way the cat can't be super sneaky, and the collar goes jingle jingle and warns the birds to keep the birds safe. So the kitty will have to eat the cat food that the people have for him. So they're going to bring the kitty cat probably back inside and make sure that the cat does get to eat, just not birds. The cat will be eating cat food instead. All right. Thanks for reading with me, boys and girls. If there's a book that you'd love to hear me read, I would love to hear that. So you could always put in a request, and I'll see if Mrs. Growth has it here in my library. All right. Bye, boys and girls.